this weekend, both of your teams in Denver lost. Two of your former teams. So I'm gonna be honest. Like, so people don't realize, like, when I talk about we're a real show. If I was a dick writer, I would have had Colorado on my thumbnail, and I would have been in here trolling them. But we're real, and I told Baby, I said, listen, I was on the boat because I don't really watch a lot of college football anymore like I used to because I just think it's fucking horrible. But that's just our opinion, my difference in opinion. So I was on the boat. We got to a casino to meet Smitty to give Matt our whole update on our day, and to meet Steve Kim and Saved by the Bell and all that. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I didn't get to see the second half, Matt. So I'm like, I'm not fair. I'm not right or fair to comment or talk about it. I didn't get to watch it. I had to drive 2 hours. I was, I had a few. So I was like, let me pause and not drive and do Rashid Rice.
Hey, good job, coach. Good shit. Hey, all right.
He put up by LAX and just waited until he sobered up. Yeah.
No, I got home. But I'm just saying. So what I'm saying is, what
you saying, homie? What you saying?
I got to watch the first half, but I didn't get to see the second half, and I know it was back and forth.
Yeah, the second half was pretty good.
That was amazing.
Yeah, so go give me your take on the game because I didn't get to see the second half as it ended, and that's why we didn't have Colorado on our thumbnail to all you dick writers out there.
Well, okay, so look, we can talk about the issues first. Just get the bad stuff out of the way. Look. They had and this makes me sick saying this, but negative 29 yards rushing, and they gave up 240 or something.
Let me remind me real quick. Can you correct me on the rules now? I know the NFL changed. Or passing, or when you drop back to pass and you're sacked, is that now on passing?
That's rushing yards.
So in the league, it's passing though. In the league, it's passing.
In the league, it's passing yards. In college football, it's rushing yards. So the rushing yards were. They didn't run the ball a lot anyway, but I mean, Shador has a step-up problem. Like Shador is always trying to make a play, and I respect that, but you've got to coach that out of him. And you're a quarterback coach and a guru. You know that you got to coach that out of the kid because it's not productive. He's turning.
You know what we do for that. You know what we do for that. So when we do drop back drills and every day in drills, when we're working the pocket, I got me a tube. It's not gonna hurt him too bad, but it's a bendable tube, and I'm fucking hitting the shit out of his back of his helmet with it. and I'm being serious because we hated, Matt back in our day.
Floaty things in a pool.
Yeah, exactly what it is. Hey, Matt. So Matt, we hated the coaches when they hit our helmet with the whistle. Remember?
Yep.
You fuck because that ding ding. So. I hit our quarterback, dog. Get that bitch out of your hand. So as we climb the pocket, I'm hitting you with the floaty. I put a little fish weight in there, get a little more weight, but that's just me.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So anyway, you're hitting that motherfucker, man, and you got to make sure that he has a shock treatment regarding a sense of urgency. Because if
I think he was sacked 6 times, and only 2 of them were accredited to the offensive line, so 4 of them were on him. But negative 29 yards rushing, and then the way Kansas State ran the ball, that's the difference in the game. And look, CU's defense struggled to a point. I mean, they definitely played better in the second half. People are acting like this game was like 65-10. I mean, CU went up 28-24 with a minute and 50 seconds left.
I thought the game was over, man.
I thought they were going to win. So – they played terrible. They didn't, and Coach Prime will be the first one to tell you he called out his own son Shiloh and said he played horrible.
Hey,
he said that, and he's not wrong. Shiloh got absolutely broken off in this game multiple times. I mean, this is touch earth. And Mark Jones is on ESPN right when that happened. Mark goes, 21, can you do something for me? And I was like, oh my God. So,
hey, this is why I said that there's no way, because I'm equating it to what we see in the NFL today.
Yeah, I don't know if Shiloh's an NFL player right now.
He's not. There's no way.
He's a free agent.
Yeah, break it down. Yeah. I break it down for the layman's though. I want to make sure everyone understands. Nowadays, I give him a lot of credit. And I told him this personally. You have nuts and guts, which we don't have anymore. I'm
glad he came back and played.
I appreciate you trying to bang everybody. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. But you, son, cannot play in the NFL anymore because there is no true quarter safeties no more coming down in B-gap hitting the run game because we have so much RPO and number 2 going vertical in the NFL. You got to have a nickel safety. That's why linebackers now weigh 215, not 255. So the game has changed.
So look, on the offensive side of things, I thought Shedeur played as good as he could, with the exception of the sacks and the overthrow. He had 4 or 5 bad plays, and those 4 or 5 bad plays, I bet you they cost CU at least 14 points, okay? Because Kansas State was not slowing down us throwing the ball at all. And vice versa, we could not stop them running the football at all. I mean, the running back for Kansas State is a grown man, and he was just shrugging guys off.
Well, what happened? I didn't see. So what happened? Why they couldn't stop the run all of a sudden?
It's just the nature of the Kleinman offense. You know, he comes from North Dakota State. They're multiple in how they run the ball. Avery Johnson is dynamic, and he made some really good throws. I thought that I thought that the game was there for either team, and Kansas State made the last play, and CU couldn't match them at the end. And honestly, I thought when they got the ball back with 1:20 left that they were going to go down and at least kick a field goal and it was going to go to overtime. I'm not going to sit here and like bitch at the refs for a PI. The pass might have been uncatchable. I don't know. The ref made the call. It's what it is. I don't feel this. I don't feel the same as I did last year when they lost games like this. I just don't. Like I look at the rest of I look at this game against Kansas State, and it was a dogfight against a rival. And people, when I say rival and people get upset about that, obviously you don't know the history of Colorado and Kansas State at all. They were North rival. We played them every year when I was there, and they're an old Big 8 team. So there's the logos, there's a rivalry, and this is how you build a rivalry in the new conference. You have games like this. So it is going to be a protected game where they play it every year. So next year in Manhattan, CU will get another shot. But Kansas State's a really good football team. I said this last week, got a ton of respect for them. I'm not necessarily torn up about the loss. I think they can learn a lot from it because they didn't play well. I mean, let's just be real. They didn't play well on either side of the ball. They gave up a ton of plays and they missed a ton of plays, and they lost by 3 at the end of the game. And they made another crazy 10-point comeback down 24-14 when everybody was counting them out. You know, everybody can like point the finger at Shedeur, but without him, they don't make a comeback. They had 4 of their top players get hurt. You know, Travis got hit on the shoulder. The Amario Miller broke his ankle.
Jimmy Horn
got hurt, and then they lost another kid also. So they're playing with a bunch of backups, and he's still routing them up. So I think there's a lot to grow on here. And look, Arizona is a team that has fallen off this year. They're not as good as they were last year. So you think that you could go to the desert and get that game and hopefully play well. And then you got Cincinnati at home before you have to play Utah. And Utah lost to Arizona State Friday night. So the Big 12 is wide ass open, bro. This conference is fucking nuts.
It is wide open. Let's play the other side. I got to be the asshole and critique a little bit.
No, it's all good. I knew this was coming. And they deserve it, bro. I mean, they gave up over 200 yards.
I want to be clear, though.
Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I want to be clear, though. I hate the person that comes out after the fact. That's why I do preemptive predictions. That's why I talk about shit.
You're a preemptive striker.
Yeah, and that's why I hate the motherfucker that waits in the shadows and then waits for the team to lose. I told you Colorado's gonna lose.
I told you they were gonna lose.
I'll never be that bitch-made cat that I get DMs from every single day. What's your take on Caleb Williams now? He's not a bust anymore. Shut the fuck up. Where were you for the first 4 weeks, motherfucker, when he threw for 80 yards? But anyway,
he looked pretty good yesterday.
That's what I'm saying, though, right? That's my point. That's my whole point. Like, I'm not that guy. I don't want to be the guy that comes out and says, "Oh, what happened to Colorado?"
You're not that guy.
But let me dive into an overall thing, and you're gonna get to talk to Dion and his son and all this. And I just want to know your take as a realist. He's 1-6 versus top 25 teams, and he's 0-2 in bowl games at Jackson State when it counts most. Do you hold that with any grain of salt? Like, do you think that is something that has to do with coaching at the end of the day?
Good question.
Versus the upper echelon of guys? Because he's winning games that he's maybe supposed to win, I guess. I don't even know if you could say he's supposed to win these games. They were just 0-4 2 years ago. So I'm trying to figure out, is he getting out coached in these big games, or are these just regular games to him?
Well, I think if you look at it from just a talent perspective, CU has more talent, like in the skill positions, but Kansas State's way better on the O&D lines. So I don't know if he got out coached necessarily, but I'm just going to use this game as a one-off. Last year, that team is so much different, and they lost so many games by one score. Now they lose this game by one score. Is it something that they think about? Maybe. I mean, yeah, maybe. But I also watched them come back from in the Baylor game. I watched them blow out UCF, and then I watched them come back 24-14 in this game and take the lead. And then the defense just – I don't know what the fuck happened on that last drive, but there's guys running into each other and they can't cover the flat route.
So quick, Matt.
Hodge is getting routed. Like, he didn't even look like he was like checked in on the play. So, I mean, Coach Prime can't play for him, and he's trying to build it so the players can take accountability, which I like. Look. I think that this was a really good game between two teams that are both going to be at the top of the conference at the end of the year. Kansas State had their back against the wall. They lose 2 games in conference. You lose 2 games in the Big 12 right now, and you might as well lost 4. So it puts both teams under the microscope on Kansas State won, but they got a lot of work to do in their secondary and, you know, making sure that they're sewed up. And CU lost, and they have a lot of work to do in their defense and the run game. And then, you know, getting Shador to play within the system a little bit more so he doesn't have – so we're not taking 2nd and 4 and turning it into 3rd and 30 like they did 3 or 4 times the other night. So rather than the – and I'm not saying you're doing this, but rather than the finger pointing that's going on now, it's his fault, it's Shiloh's fault, it's Shador's fault, it's – Prime's fault. It's this guy. It's everyone's fault. Every single player and coach has to take a big bite of this shit sandwich and eat it. And it's supposed to hurt. When you lose games, you're supposed to win. And you played as bad as they did, and they still had a chance to win like that. It's supposed to sting and hurt. And you're supposed to get angry when people criticize and question what you're doing. Now, do they have a big game problem? Yeah, CU's had a big game problem for years, bro. It's not just Coach Prime. It's what it is. Like, this is the next hill they have to get over. That's why I said, like, I think that Arizona's a winnable game, and Cincinnati's a good team, but I think that's a winnable game too. They're 4-2 as well.
That's what they got next.
They're at Arizona, Cincinnati, and then they have Utah at home. And I'm pretty sure that's how it lines up. And Utah is coming off of a loss to Arizona State, and Dillingham's got them fucking rolling. Everybody picked Arizona State to finish dead last. They lost 55-3 to fucking Utah last year, and they ended up winning that game Friday night. I'm telling you, that white boy running back, he's a bad man. That fucking kick and play, boy. So I think that this conference is going to cannibalize itself like we thought. I still think that CU finishes somewhere around 8-4, 9-3, even with this loss. And look, there's a lot that they can learn from this and get better. If they hang their heads and like dwell on the loss, then they deserve to lose again. Yeah, you know, they've gotta find what they did well and hang their hat on it, and then they've got to actually go and fix this shit that they didn't do well. I thought they had it fixed at UCF. It reared its ugly head again. Negative 29 yards rushing is the worst rushing attack in the history of Colorado football.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So, like, I can't sugarcoat that. I can't make it sound good for the Prime Sexuals. I can't sugarcoat it for Coach Prime. I can't, like, that's what the stats say, negative 29 yards rushing. And in the media guide, that says dead last. Worst rushing performance in the history of Colorado football against a team that ran the ball down your throat. And you only lost by 3 and you had a chance to win. So
and that's my biggest, and I don't believe in moral victory, but it's like you played that bad. You didn't have your best player in the world for most of the game. You didn't have probably your second best weapon in Horn, I would say. You could argue, but second best weapon or whatever in Horn. You play horrible on defense, and you're up with under 2 minutes left in the game against a ranked opponent. I mean, you know, I don't know. It just there's a lot to learn.
There's no such thing as like a win when you lose.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they can take a lot out of this and move forward.
Right.
Whereas last year, I felt like when they would lose a one-score game, it would just be like, fuck, man, we can't win. And now it's like, well, we should have. And that, you know, now we can take this into Arizona, and hopefully that they've given up. You know, Arizona went on the road and won at Utah, and then they've given up 40 points back-to-back weeks. So,
hey, real quick, let's transition. I want to go through a couple other games. Before I do, though, we had an argument on here about Travis Hunter. We don't disagree that he's the best player in college football, but what we agree with it or don't agree with is transitioning to the next level. I don't believe he'll be what a lot of people think he'll be, and I think we saw it the other night. I don't believe he can sustain the injuries and the body type that he has in the NFL. I don't believe it's sustainable. This is why I say he won't be what we all think he'll be. A lot of you guys think he'll be in the NFL. But having said that, that could be an argument in itself. But having said that, are you at the point where you say, all right, Deion, I know you're like a father to him, your own two sons, well, all your other sons as well, and you're a father figure to these guys. Is it time to be a father figure to Travis and say, it's time to go to one side of the football here? Because if I'm a coach, to be honest, Matt, I put him at wideout and I fucking break all the records in the country with Shador, and I get this motherfucker the rock and I keep him upright and I just feed his cat the ball, and maybe we'll throw him on nickel on a few times here and there, but I'm starting to transition him towards one side of the ball or the other. That's my personal first thought, just to keep the kid somewhat healthy for draft day. Like at this point, I just see his body deteriorating. And you and I know, Matt, you can't do this 12, 13, 14 games a year times 150 snaps. I mean, we've never seen it, Matt. We got to just at one point say, you know what, dog? We've seen it. You fucking beat all our expectations, Travis. No one's arguing. Like Weddle, everybody. We've never seen this kid before. But now, though, Matt, it's time to not just run the horse into the ground. Let's be honest and be a coach now going forward and saying, I got to transition this kid for the betterment of himself. And now we can, let's just outscore everybody. Put his ass on offense and let's fucking outscore you. I mean, I'm just giving you my perspective and thought, but where you at with it?
Well, look, I don't want to see anybody get hurt, obviously, but this isn't Coach Prime pushing him to play both ways. This is Travis.
Yeah.
Travis is on Coach Prime's ass to play both ways.
Like, yeah, we mentioned that.
And like all the people in the chat, like now Travis is a bust. Do you even watch football, you fucking idiots? So,
hey, Matt, to your point, that's our point though. Like, but when is the adult in the room say, all right, listen,
well, it would probably be smart this week to hold him out of practice and see how he feels at Arizona. If he needs to miss a week, he misses a week. If not, then you play him one way. I think that if that would have been like the Big 12 title game or a game to get into the playoff, he would have played. But I mean, it's smart to be able to change your plan. You know, like Don Shula said this a long time ago. Your plan could be the best plan in the world, but it ain't worth shit if you can't change it. So there's like this narrative out here in the world that if you do one thing, you can't change it up and go the other way. And that's ridiculous. Like if I have been saying that Travis can play both ways this whole time and he just got hurt, and now I step back and go, maybe we should just play him one way. That doesn't make me a hypocrite. That makes me a good coach. So I think that it's a lot of it's going to be on Travis. I think Coach Prime, to right or wrong, will look at Hunter and say, okay, can you play? And if Travis says yes, he's going to let him go do what he's been doing. And honestly, look, what happens with Hunter at the NFL level is not Coach Prime's issue. It's going to be Travis's issue to deal with at the next level. Right now in college football for 1 year, I think you're going to see more of the same. I don't think he's going to come off the field a whole lot if he's healthy.
How many games did Travis miss last year?
He missed 2 because of the cheap shot.
So there's 2 games. So like, yeah. I just don't feel like, in my opinion, at this point, that he's like an injury prone guy. And
that was a cheap shot last year. That was
a cheap shot last year. And he only missed 2 games. He played 10 out of 12 games. So it's like, okay, I mean, to me, to this point, him playing on both sides hasn't led to some extreme, big-time injuries or concern, at least for me as a fan. I feel like guys like this, and I'm going to compare it to, like, the dual-threat quarterbacks of the league, the Lamar Jackson as an example. It's like the very few times when this cat does get hurt, all the naysayers who don't really believe in the quarterback running the ball and being a dual threat, they point their finger and say, see, that's what was our concern. That's why he shouldn't run the ball, because he's going to get hurt. It was like, well, everybody gets hurt. It's football. We all get hurt. I don't care if you play one side, both sides, quarterback.
Look at Aiden Hutchinson yesterday. Aiden Hutchinson just rushing the passer and he snaps his leg. That's terrible.
It's terrible. Right? It's happened. So my point is saying that, bringing it all full circle, is that, yeah, Travis got hurt this weekend, but I don't know if it's tied because he's playing both sides of the ball. It's just he football.
And like people were talking like he was tired. It was in the second quarter. He was running a crossing route, and the safety got him right on the head of his shoulder. So I would guess it's either a terrible stinger, or like I don't think it's a labrum, because the labrum's on the inside of your shoulder, or like an AC joint. Right. And that's I've had those. You've had those.
I'm just projecting, guys. I'm just projecting. Like I'm a coach first, and I care for my kid. So I'm just looking at it as this kid is playing 2 fucking football seasons while you guys play 1. Just so you guys know, okay? First of all, he missed 4 games at Jackson State, okay? Then he got a lacerated liver last year and missed 3. And now this year, we don't know what's going on. And how much does he really practice every week?
He doesn't practice.
He doesn't practice during the week. How are you going to get
he doesn't need to, though, bro. When you play at that level, I don't need him to practice.
I don't agree with that, dog. We're talking about going to the NFL, Matt.
But hold on. When he gets to the NFL, again, that's not Coach Prime and Travis's problem or CU's problem anymore. That's Travis in the NFL. I'm saying right now, there are certain guys, and Travis is one of them, the running back at Boise State. You think he's doing a ton of practicing every week?
Right. No, but listen, this guy's body type's not – he can't not practice or at least do something.
But look, there's been one circumstance where he's got hurt playing football. The cheap shot by Blackburn, that wasn't a football play.
No, he got hurt in Jackson State. He missed 4 games, bro. I remember.
Okay, well, I didn't watch one fucking ounce of Jackson State, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, I'm just talking about injuries, yeah.
I'm saying, like, he's gotten hurt once in a game playing football. The Blackburn shit is the biggest cheap shot I've ever seen, so I'm not going to count that from he's been playing. And other than that, he's done this in every single game he's played in. He's gone in and been the best player on the field on both sides of the ball and played well and gone out unscathed. And I'm not saying he's going to play Saturday, but I can almost guarantee you he's there Saturday night, and he goes off because now people are doubting him, and it's just going to put more fuel into this. Like it's like when you hit Shador. Like the other night, K-State, they were up 24-14. We were down inside the red zone. They cheap shot Shador and hit him late, and he goes off. And before you know it, it's 28-24. All you did was piss him off. So I think that there's a lot of holes for CU to fix, obviously. But you know what? I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this. 2 years ago when they were 1-11, and I was up there giving fucking speeches trying to get this group motivated, and I was embarrassed as an alum after being there when I was there when we were playing the Big 12 titles and everybody's in the NFL, and it meant something. To be in the position now where we're relevant and we're talking about it every week, and we've got NFL players on the field, and every game's on national TV, and you can't fucking you can't not watch. Was that not super exciting the other night, Smitty? I know they lost, but goddamn, that game was awesome.
I was every game on the side. Oh my gosh, Shador! I think Colorado's going to do it. Like,
every game was fucking kick ass. So next week's on national TV. The week after that's on national. Every game's going to be on national TV. So I think that I'm pretty happy where the program's at. Look, Kansas State is an unbelievable program. I've sent God knows how many players there, from Dalton Reisner to now Jake Stonebreaker. So, you know, we have a great relationship with them at 6-0. I love the way they do things, and I'm glad to be back playing them, man. I mean, that used to be a fucking trench fight. Every time we played them, it was a dog fight. And if you didn't show up, they beat the shit out of you. And if you did, you could get a dub. So it's the way college football is, man. You're not going to win every game. and it's about licking your wounds and going back to work. And look, everything's in front of K-State. Everything's in front of Arizona State. Everything's in front of Texas Tech. Everything's in front of Colorado. Everything's in front of BYU. Everything's in front of Matt Campbell and Iowa State. Everything's in front of Cincinnati.
Hey, everything's in front of everybody in this one.
I'm saying the Big 12, the Big 12.
And they water down. It's parity, homie, and I love it.
And look, and Coach, I know you think it's bad. I don't think it's ever been better.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I think it's awesome, bro.
JB likes it when JB likes to know, okay, these are the top 4 teams. They're gonna win for sure. Undefeated. We're gonna. I love it when I don't fucking know. It's like, damn, I don't know who's gonna win this at all. To me, that's exciting. Not knowing.
Smitty, you couldn't be more wrong. That's not it. Okay, your eyes must. Do you have Stevie Wonder eyes? Because I watch football. I see football. I watch football. I don't know what you watch, but I watch football.
I watch football as well, homie.
And I don't care what teams are at top. I don't give a fuck if it was Colorado State, BYU, and fucking Nebraska as the top 4. If it was good football across America, I would tell you, this ain't good football, homie. Let's stop. Stop.
Man, it's a lot better than it has been.
It's fucking bad. It's bad. Because
I watched 1-11. That was bad, dog. This is
but that's just one particular team. I'm looking at this whole thing as a landscape. This ain't good football, man, across the country. This is fucking bad. I just don't see good quality football every week. We call it parity now because we see every week we see 12 teams lose that never lost before to those particular 12 teams, and we're like, oh, it's parity. No, it's not. That's the new norm. When Appalachian State beat Michigan in 2007, that was an upset, bro. This ain't upset no more. This is the norm. This is not parity.
I don't know. Ohio State, Oregon was a good ass game. Went down to the wire. Like I saw a lot of good football.
That game was kick ass.
I know.
I think
that game rocked. You didn't like Ohio State, Oregon
right now. That
I watch
football's bad. So even when he sees football, his brain can't even see it. Like you're not appreciating it when you see it. Oregon, Ohio State was a good ass game.
LSU Ole Miss was fucking awesome. That game kicked ass.
Listen, I get it.
Utah on Friday night. That game kicked ass. Kicked ass.
I'll be on the boat more often than not. Let me just tell you.
Well, look, I understand that, but I'm looking at it as perspective of I want to see competitive, hard-nosed football, and I'm watching people play hard. I'm watching teams that you wouldn't think that Washington would beat Michigan on the road, and then they'll go to Iowa City, and Iowa just beat the shit out of them. It's just it's hard to predict these days, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. The NFL is really vanilla, and it's I guess some of the games are good sometimes when Tampa Bay and New Orleans was interesting yesterday, but I don't know if it was good.
It's all bad.
I'm more of a college football fan than an NFL fan, I will say.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same thing. I just think football overall is bad. What's your take real quick as you leave? I know it's time to go. We got to take commercial. What's your take on BYU and Iowa State on the other side of your division? Both of those teams are possibly facing off for a playoff battle.
Yeah, and they don't play each other either. So that's one thing about the Big 12. Like, there's a lot of teams, and all of them don't play each other. So I don't know how they're going to figure that out. But if BYU and Iowa State stay on this run and they stay undefeated, they're meeting in the Big 12 title game for a spot. And I would bet that the other team, when they lose, still gets in as an at-large because they're not going to follow the top 12 without with one loss. So, look, good for BYU. They're obviously their 30-year-old team. They got a lot of older players, but it's working. Matt Campbell and Iowa State, it is not surprising. Matt Campbell does this. Every 2 or 3 years, he's got a fucking great football team in Ames. I mean, Iowa State for years was just a walkover program. You know, they had Seneca Wallace back in the day when we played them, and they were good for a couple of years, and they give you a fight, but you could always find a way to beat them. Now Iowa State is just tough as fuck, and they will beat the shit out of you up front. And it's not surprising. I mean, this is what Matt Campbell does. So I will say this, bro. You better watch out for Texas Tech. Texas Tech can score with anybody, and they are rolling down in Lubbock, and they're undefeated in Big 12 play too. So, you know, I'm very eager to see where this goes. Every week, there's nothing better than playing on a team where every week means something. Okay, and you know, I've been on it. I was on a team at CU where we went through a run through the Big 12 and, you know, won the Big 12 and only lost one conference game and played for the Big 12 title. And there was a year where we lost 4 conference games and played for the Big 12 title. So you don't really fucking know what's going to happen. You just have to keep playing every week and see where the chips fall. And at the end of the year, come up for air and be like, okay, we're 8-4, we're 9-3, and we got an opportunity in front of us that we didn't think we could have. I wouldn't be surprised if just football karma works out like this. I wouldn't be surprised if CU and Nebraska are both 9-3 and playing like the Holiday Bowl or some shit.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's the way fucking football works, dog.
Yeah.
It's the way it works.
And I want to be clear.
Always got a chance back.
I want to be clear before you leave on record. I don't want to give any passes to anyone and be a hypocrite. Deion Sanders is 1-6 for his top 25 competition, 0-2 in a bowl game. But guess what? Ryan Day, with all that fucking money, is no better. So I just want to be clear here. Ryan Day is actually underachieved, overpaid as well, in my opinion. But that's basically college football in a nutshell. This guy can't beat anybody. He can't beat Michigan or fucking anyone in the SEC. He hasn't beat an SEC team yet in his career, and then he hasn't won shit. And you're talking about this the best roster in football every fucking year. I'm like, when is enough enough? When are you going to hold this guy to fucking fire? I don't understand. I'm trying to figure this out.
For everything we hold against Ryan Day, I got to give my man Dan Lanning some props. Like Danny Boy's my dude, and I know that CU fans don't like him, but I don't give a shit. He went through the ranks correctly, and he's doing a great job up there, and his guys love him.
By the way,
I love the way Dan Lanning coaches, and I'm really fucking pumped for him.
By the way, we watching that game and asked Smitty. I told that we were sitting with a guy that knows Steve Kim, and I said he just did that on purpose. And they're going,
fucking he did it on purpose.
Yeah, it's a 5-yard penalty. I told Smitty, I go, that's a fucking 5-yard penalty. I'm doing that all day long. We used to do that all the time. Take a fucking 5-yard penalty. And guess what?
Yeah, he did it on purpose, dog.
I ran out 5 seconds with that 5-yard penalty. And guess what? When he took off and ran and into the game, he would have had 5 more seconds left.
Yep. I mean, it's smart, bro. Look, there's nothing wrong with fucking manipulating the rules to fit you if they don't say anything. Like, what the fuck?
It's not in the book. It's not in the rule book. Then I'm gonna fucking do it. So, Matt, appreciate you coming on. We're gonna take a commercial break, and we'll see you Friday.
You know it, boys. Have yourself a great week, and as always, go Buffs.